Hello, it's Jamie J, and we're about to go live with Bottleneck with our wonderful, I'm going to say friend today, Jennifer B. Gardner. And I can't wait to go into what we're going to be talking about today because it's going to be really good. It's all about storytelling. That's going to be how we're able to help you stop the bottleneck in your business today. But before I introduce her, let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off here. We'll be back in about 38 seconds. See you soon. Well, hello there. My name is Jamie J, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Virtual Assistants. But that's not why we're here today, as you all know that. We are here because my good friend, Jennifer B. Gardner, we're going to be talking about some pretty interesting stuff on how do you separate yourself from the competition kind of through storytelling. Storytelling is the epitome for business growth, in my opinion. And Jennifer Gardner is the founder of Rome How Creative. And why are we talking with Jennifer Gardner today, and how can she help you stop the bottleneck in your business? Well, Jennifer is a trial lawyer and entrepreneur. She's owned her own law firm for 25 years in LA. That's Los Angeles, by the way. After growing weary of hiring marketing agencies who overpromised and underdelivered results, she studied directly with seven-figure online marketers to learn the secrets to their success. She applied what she learned and exploded her business using one lead magnet, an automated email sequence, and 3 iPhone videos. She now teaches professionals what to say to get clients using social media, email, and videos, and builds them lead generation systems that grow their businesses on autopilot so that they don't blow their kids' college fund on questionable marketing strategies, and they never have to attend another rubber chicken networking event again. So I am super excited, honored, and privileged to introduce you to my good friend, Jennifer B. Gardner of Rome How Creative. How are you?
Jamie, hi. I'm great. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic. I think we met about 3 years ago. It seems like now, maybe even longer. But yeah, and I've seen you just take off. But it's not without hard work. I mean, you worked your hind quarters off. But I just look at you now versus when we first met, and you are a 100% different person. And it's just amazing to see. And for those that are listening or watching today, and by the way, if you have any questions at all, hello, Efren. Morning to you, sir. And David Eli. Hello, Jay. David, what's happening? David's my barber. He's awesome, man. He is awesome. And so if you have any questions for Jennifer while we're chatting away today, please ask away. If you're watching this as it's in a replay, go ahead and ask a question there, and I will make sure to forward any questions that we can off to Jennifer to help you out. But Jennifer, can you tell us a little bit more about, who you are and what you're up to and all kinds of the neat stuff that you have going on?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. And thanks on this live stream show. And, you are just like, it's hard not to smile whenever I speak to you. I mean, there's something about your energy is just so positive and powerful, and you just make me smile. And of course, you always say nice things about me. That helps. I won't lie. But
that's pretty easy.
Thank you. Yeah, you've really been a witness to my business transformation because we met shortly after I started my podcast, which was the last election, if you can believe it. So it was 4 years ago because I started that podcast in 2016, in the summer of 2016. And you helped me. You guys built my website. It's still happening. That website is still live. We did a little bit of, just like added some more content to it. But basically, you guys built that for me and you did an amazing job. And you've always been so generous. And so I'm just, and we've met in person. Did we meet? I think we met at PodFest.
Yes. I
Yeah.
remember, and you were there, and I remember I was like, "Oh, hey, Jennifer, hey." Yeah, where was that? Was that
in Anaheim, I want to say?
Oh, it was in Anaheim. It was, yeah.
Okay.
2018, I believe that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, 2 years ago. And
Wow.
we stayed in touch, and I'm just so, grateful and so happy to be here.
Yeah,
So,
that's amazing. Well,
yeah.
so tell me about this journey, what you're doing, because it has a lot to do with your prior career, or I should say maybe current, but prior.
Well, yes. So I do still practice law, and I have a lot of support in that. I have other lawyers that I collaborate with on my cases for my clients, and I do that primarily because I've been growing this other business, which is I'm basically building a creative marketing agency that coaches professionals on how to use their story, how to be more visible, how to really take advantage of email and video and social media, all the things by bringing more of themselves and their voice to how they show up in those mediums. And I'm running Facebook ads and doing social media management for service professionals, a lot of lawyers, because I know a lot of lawyers, and other businesses too. So it's really super exciting. I absolutely love what I do. And so yes, there you go. That's, I think, the short answer.
Well, that's fantastic. So how do you think you kind of got into this? Because you started out kind of excited and sharing your stories on, via the podcast. It gave you kind of, because you always struck me as you had that little creative edge. There was something in there that was like eking to get out there. And how did you land on Rome How Creative?
Okay, so it was 2016, and I could talk for hours, and we don't want to talk just about me. I really want to focus on like how I can help other people. But, long story short, I've always had this like duality. There was the professional me, and I brought a lot of my creativity into how I represented my clients. So I was very storytelling based lawyer. I would go into the courtroom and I would basically, it was the ultimate form of performance art. And I would tell these super compelling stories and win all the time, seriously. And that's because I had no formal training. So nobody told me, that's not how we do it here, right? So I had this very unconventional approach. And I've always been super artistic. And in June of 2016, I was doing this antique photographic process in my friend's barn in New Hampshire. And the chemicals were like killing me. I was doing wet plate collodion, which is that Civil War era photographic process. And the chemicals they were making me sick. I couldn't handle that plus the heat in New Hampshire in the summer. So I said to him, I need to find another form of creative expression. And he and I were like really obsessed with what was happening with the election. And so ultimately I decided, you know what, I don't like all this toxic conversation that I'm having. I mean, ironically, I'm doing a Civil War photographic process, and I'm feeling like the country was having its own civil war at the time. I think it's even worse now, but at the time. So I said, you know what, I'm going to change the conversation. I'm going to have a conversation that I want to have, and I'm going to launch a podcast. And sure enough, I did. So that's how the podcast was born. Did I answer your question? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering because I'd really love to know how Rome Howl came into it.
Yeah, well,
I remember us talking about that, and I just think it's an interesting story.
Exactly. Sorry to cut you off there. There's a bit of a delay here on my headphone. The concept for the podcast was a wolf related concept, because it was all about exploring and sharing ideas that were really positive about people who were that were living extraordinary lives. And that was the concept for the podcast. And then I'm so in love with that podcast generally that with that title for the podcast generally, that I kept it as the name of the creative marketing agency. And also there's a lot of folks out there who tune into the podcast still, even though I'm not very actively doing it, although that's about to change. And I figured, why rebrand myself? I love the idea. So I just tacked
Fantastic.
my name on the front and I kept the concept because that's really what I'm all about, exploring and sharing.
Well, I love it. I think it's fantastic. And if you're looking for Jennifer and you're Googling her, go to Jennifer B. Gardner. I want to make sure I point that out here. And if you want to learn more, you can learn more about Jennifer B. Gardner, founder of Romehow Creative. She's at romehow.com. So I wanted to ask you a question. You mentioned earlier, one of the things I picked out when I was introducing you was right here at the very end. It says systems that grow their business on autopilot so that they don't blow their kids' college fund on questionable marketing strategies and they never have to attend another rubber chicken networking event ever. Mm-hmm. Curiosity here, and this is a segue into something else, but how did you come up with those two sentences right there, or that final sentence in that bio?
Yeah, well, the focus of that sentence is the pain that people want to avoid, right? Like, I know what it's like to be ripped off by a marketing company as a law firm, right? Because I've been ripped off by the best. So that's one pain that I know a lot of my clients want to avoid. And even before COVID, who liked going to networking events, right? I mean, it was always hit or miss for me. I would go, I always felt awkward. I'm a bit of an introvert. I would show up, maybe I'd meet somebody, maybe I wouldn't. It was usually after the end of a long day or in the middle of a very busy one. And now we're not even going to those things. And who knows for how long we won't be attending them anyway. So that's another pain that people want to avoid. So this is the system that I've created, allows you to avoid all of that.
I love it. I love it. So what separates you, besides being an attorney, from the other creative marketing agencies out there that are going after the same target, the same professional target?
Yeah, outstanding question. Very good question. What separates me? Well, I know firsthand what it's like to be exactly the type of business owner that I do this work for. So I really can feel the pain. I have boots on the ground, real world experience, solving the problems that they have to solve in their business all the time. And it's all about time and energy and money and feeling depleted and feeling like they have to put so much energy into so many different facets of their business, and this constant anxiety of where is the business going to come from? How am I going to make the connections and form the relationships that are going to be the source of the referrals that I need to ensure that I can keep the lights on and pay my people and continue to do work that I love, right? How do I get the word out? So I have firsthand real world experience with that. That's one thing. I would say another thing that makes me a little bit different is that I have been selling really tough ideas to the coldest of audiences with one chance to get it right for 30 years. And that's as a trial lawyer. I mean, like really outlandish promises like my guy's not guilty, didn't do whatever the unthinkable could be, and he'll never do it again. So you should find him not guilty, for example. I mean, that is like, that's rough. Like a jury in a box, total complete strangers, and to connect with them and make them bond with you and believe you and build trust. And you don't get a lot of time to do it. There's not a lot of margin for error. They automatically don't trust you. So what do you have to do when you show up in that courtroom to get people to connect with you and to
tell
trust
a story?
You? Exactly.
Tell a story. I have a comment here from Tom Schwab said, Jamie, I think you introduced me to Jennifer at Podcast Movement in Anaheim. She has a great story and great insights.
Hello, Tom. What a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Tom Schwab. It's so crazy how things happen and you forget about them until they're presented to you, maybe, a couple weeks, in this case, a couple years later, and you're like, I do remember that now. Holy cow.
Yeah. I remember meeting Tom. It was so much fun. And he sent me a lovely gift after we met. And I look forward to working with Tom someday. He's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So going back to creative, we talked about storytelling. This could be an incredibly long answer. So I'll break it down into three parts. Tom said, small interconnected world. That's right. I'll break it into 3 parts. What are 3 things you can do to help someone construct a story about themselves or their brand or their company?
3 things. Oh my gosh, you're really getting some kind of pleasure out of quizzing me.
I love
These
this.
questions.
Here's why I love doing this, because a lot of people they need a starting point, right?
Yeah.
So if you can give 3 things for them that they could kind of need to think of, here's the thing. Not all people are creative like you, especially this guy. I'm not a creative person whatsoever. If I can get some stepping stones to figure out where I need to get to, then it's a lot easier for me to call Jennifer B. Gardner.
All right. So, number 1, everyone is creative. Everyone is creative. Even you, Jamie J. I mean, look what you're creating here.
Well, I had a lot of help.
We all have a lot of help. It takes a village, right?
Yes.
But the point is that we're all creative beings. And I would say number 1 is to I invite my clients and you and whoever's listening to reframe that and to look at themselves and to go inside and get to know themselves and to have some quiet so they can tune in and listen to themselves. And you will see that everything that is in your life right now is there because you created it, because you believed it was possible. I mean, these things, these circumstances don't happen to us by accident, and we're all creative. And I really do believe that we can create whatever we want. So that's the existential piece of it. But as far as content goes, there are techniques that I teach my students about how they can constantly be easily generating topics and types of content that they can use to tell their story, to tell the stories of their clients. I mean, this is really the gist of exactly what I teach in this program that I'm launching really very soon, and how I've been working with my clients now for a couple years.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
everyone is creative. And then when you learn how to remove whatever blocks that there are that stop you from being creative, and there are exercises. I mean, there's a rich literary a very action-oriented set of material out there that anyone can access online about how to become more creative, how to access that creative part in themselves. Once they do that and they're like, okay, my creative juices are flowing, then it's time to get intentional and strategic about how to tap into that in order to make it something that you can use to build a brand, to promote your business, if that's what you want to do with it. I mean, you can do quite anything with it, but I'm presuming that your audience and most of the people who are tuning in right now really want to learn how they can tell stories and come up with ideas for content to express themselves in social media. So
It's
yeah,
hard.
first, it's
really
hard. It's challenging, but once you understand, okay, I'm creative, I'm a creative being, and then once you have like frameworks and strategies for coming up with what to share, it becomes a heck of a lot easier. And then you get the confidence that comes from the clarity of knowing, like, what can I use? What can I pull from in my daily life in order to tell a story or to create some kind of content that's going to deeply connect me with other people? Because that's the whole idea.
Got it. I got it. So unleash your creativity by believing in yourself. Number 2, interview clients to get stories or share experiences that you've had for stories. Would you consider that a number 2?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. I mean, you've collapsed 2 things in number 2. Interviewing clients to get their stories is like one idea for a story, a case result, a client story, or something you were able to do for a client that was positive. Ideally, you
Yeah.
don't want to sell the disaster.
You know what I found too is, and you're right. You know what? I shouldn't say that I'm not creative. You nailed it on the head. I'm creative. You know what I can do? I can go and see a beautiful piece of art or something and go, wow, that I can recognize how beautiful that is. Never in a million years I can't even draw a circle. That being said, as far as creating a business and stuff, yeah, I think I think I'm kind of creative that way, and I shouldn't be so hard on myself. Um, at the same point, one of the things that has helped me when I'm feeling like I've got writer's block or some kind of creative block, or I'm just not feeling it, I just do a brain dump. I will get a piece of paper and I'll just start writing down whatever's in my head. Right now, I'd be like Rome Howell, Jennifer B. Gardner, Stop the Bottleneck. Can you? And then all of a sudden, I get all this stuff. And as soon as I do a brain dump for about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, now all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
It's so weird how that works.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works, by the way. It's exactly how it works.
Is that what you do?
I do that a lot. Yes. I will set aside time to just brain dump, like you said it, like maybe 15 minutes and just stream of consciousness, not edit myself, not censor myself, not say, oh, that's not a good idea. Just keep writing what comes to mind. And soon, I mean, that actually, neuroscientifically, I don't know the neuroscience behind it, but I know that it gets your brain flowing. It's a really great technique. Yeah.
I love it. My word of the year in 2018 was focus.
Mm.
And it stands for finding opportunities by creating uninterrupted strategy sessions, i.e. brain dump. Because if you can focus just on getting what's that clutter in your brain out, it works for me. Now that may not work for other people, but I'm so happy to learn that works for you. I'm like,
It
it's
totally
awesome.
works for me. Yeah. Another thing that works for me is to set the timer and then like set it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and say, okay, I'm going to brainstorm, brain dump, whatever the topic is, set the timer, turn off all distractions, silence all notifications, do your stream of consciousness. And when the timer goes off, stop, just stop, get up and do something totally different for like 5 minutes and then come back. Another trick that I love to do, Thomas Edison said, never go to sleep without a request to your subconscious. So if you have a problem, like if you're in the middle of like some kind of creation, whatever it is, it could be a sales page or it could be a legal brief or it could be, I don't know, a business plan or whatever it is. If you're in the middle of that, and let's say you're stuck, like you just can't move to the next point for whatever reason, but you have a problem you just can't get your head around, you don't know that the solution just isn't flowing. When you go to sleep at night, write down what the problem is, and your subconscious will solve it for you. And when you wake up in the morning, go back to where you left off, and I bet you the solution will start flowing.
Huh. That is interesting. Huh.
I do that all the time.
Huh. I learned something new.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we're getting close to the end of the half hour, and I want to respect your time. How do people reach out to you and learn more about Jennifer B. Gardner?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram at I am Jennifer B. Gardner, or they can go to my Facebook page at Rome Howell Creative. And I have all kinds of content. That's basically it. They can listen to me talk about things that matter to me really informally in interviews like this with other people and sometimes by myself. Yeah, they can go to my website, romehowell.com, where they can find podcast episodes. I haven't podcasted in a year, but I'm about to start up again. But the stuff that's there is really relevant to this conversation that we're having right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, if someone is, where are they at in their business to where it's probably time, hey, reach out to me. What's going to benefit them most? Like where are they in their business? Who is that person? Where are they in their business? And when is a good time to reach out to you for your help?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question too. You have such good questions, Jamie. I have to say, I love your questions. Well, a person has to be open to the possibilities of online marketing. So they have to be aware of and ready to use social media and a combination of organic and paid traffic in order to really get some momentum for their business. They have to have like a desire to want to express themselves online to be the face of their business to a certain extent, although that's not completely required. They don't need to do it to the extent that I do it, but they need to be ready to step up and say, okay, I have a purpose, I have a mission, I have a vision, I have values that I want to express in the world. I have thoughts and ideas that are coming through me that I feel like I need to find a way to put that out there to a bigger audience so that I can do my work in the world and have greater impact and show up in a bigger way. Those are my ideal clients. So
Nice.
people who are, they might say to themselves, oh, I don't think I'm creative. I don't know if I can do this, but I'm looking for support. I'm ready to step into that more fully self-expressed version of myself so that I can let whatever's trying to come through me come through so that I can help more people. Those are my ideal clients. I
So is
love
it
helping
like
people.
trial attorneys, personal injury attorneys?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're a lawyer, absolutely. I mean, especially lawyers because they get really taken advantage of. They don't get the whole picture. They're too busy. They don't really understand. They don't take the time to understand how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together so that they can really make the most of them. That's how I can best serve them is by showing them all the things that are available to them so they understand like the big picture so they can really make sure that when they hire the SEO company or when they hire when they have the PPC campaign that their ads and their content is really set up to help them make the most of it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
but any kind of service professional really, and any kind of business. I mean, I've worked with all kinds of people, acting coaches who are taking their businesses from offline to online instruction, dog grooming businesses, mediators, all kinds of professional service providers.
Gotcha. Oh, that's fantastic. All
Yeah.
right. Well, anything else you want to add before we wrap today?
Well, I just want to mention that soon I'm going to be launching a program. It's my first digital course. I've been delivering it live for the last like year and a half, and now I'm creating it in a digital format. And I'm very, very excited about that because I've never created a digital course before where people, where the content will be available online for people to access 24/7. And basically what it's doing is it's teaching people exactly what they need to do, like step by step, what they need to do in order to start creating really compelling content for their emails and for social media and including video. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's called What the F Do I Say? And if they want to join the wait list so that they can get notice of like really exciting bonuses that I'm going to be giving to people who enroll early, they can go to my Instagram and click on the link in my bio, and then they can enter their name and information and join the wait list.
I'm going to just type that out here. List on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Let me see if we can get this banner added. It's called What the F Do I Say? It's a new program, and you can join the wait list, not just the wait list on Instagram. And here is Jennifer B. Gardner. It is I am Jennifer B. Gardner on Instagram.
That's exactly right.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, it was so fun connecting with you again.
Always. Always so fun. Thank you again so much for inviting me to be here and allowing me to speak to your audience. And yeah, it's always good to see you. I don't care how I get it. Like, just like this is
This is
fun.
awesome.
Zoom calls work, phone calls work, in-person works. It's all good.
It is. Oh, well, hold on. Please don't go anywhere. I'm going to wrap up right now, but just give me about 15, 20 seconds. Hold on one quick second.
Okay.
And we've been talking to the one and only Jennifer B. Gardner, founder of Rome Howell Creative. You can learn more about her by visiting her website, romehowell.com. Send her an email if you like, jennifer@romehowell.com. And if you want to, that's the wrong one, but that was a really good quote. Never go to sleep without a request to your subconscious. Thomas Edison said that. But what the F do I say? That's a new program, digital program, where you can go and join the wait list on Instagram. And if you go over to Jennifer's Instagram, it is I am Jennifer B. Gardner, and join the wait list there. Huge. Loved having Jennifer on. Seriously, reach out to her, especially for those that are in professional services industry. She is unbelievable. She never quits. She's very successful at what she does. And if you can hire her to put her mind to work for you, I know you're going to be super happy. So I can't recommend getting in touch with her just do it right away. We've been talking about today storytelling for business growth. The founder of Rome How Creative, Jennifer Gardner. My name is Jamie J, and I just want to say thanks so much for tuning in to Live with Bottleneck. We had a blast. Remember, there's one thing that I want to leave you with, and that is create your own ripple. All right, have a great one.